We are all tired of pretending. You know what is exhausting? Not the work, not the responsibilities, not even the difficult people in your life. What is truly exhausting is the version of yourself you have to maintain. Every single day, the one who is fine, the one who is handling it, the one who smiles at the right moments, says the right things, and never lets the room feel the weight you are actually carrying. That version of you, maintaining that version, is the most tiring job most people will ever have. And nobody put it on your resume. Here's what I think most people never say out loud. The pretending did not start with other people. We did not first lie to the world. We first lied to ourselves. We were the original audience. We were the first ones we learned to perform for. Think about a moment when something hurt you, really hurt you, and almost immediately, before anyone else could even respond, something inside you said, "You are fine. This is not a big deal. Other people have it worse. Just keep moving." And you listened because it felt stronger to listen, because sitting with the hurt felt like weakness, and overriding it felt like control. So you kept moving, and the hurt went somewhere quiet inside you, and you told yourself you had handled it. But here is what actually happened. You did not handle it. You just got very good at not feeling it, which is a completely different thing. And over years of doing this, of telling yourself you are fine before you even checked, of swallowing things before you had a chance to taste them, you built a gap, a space between who you actually are and who you tell yourself you are. And living in that gap is one of the most quietly exhausting places a person can exist, because it takes constant energy to maintain. Every day you have to remember the performance. Every day you have to keep the version of yourself consistent. Every day you have to make sure the real thing, the uncertain, sometimes sad, often confused, deeply human, real thing, stays out of sight. Even from yourself, especially from yourself. And I think there is a specific moment most people recognize. Not a dramatic one, not a breakdown, just a quiet one. You're in the middle of an ordinary day, and someone asks, "How are you?" And you say, "Good. Really good, actually." And they move on, and you move on. And for just a half second, something in you watches that happen and thinks, "That was not true." And then that thought disappears because there is no time for it. Because admitting it would make things complicated, because you have been saying you are fine for so long, you are not even sure what the true answer would sound like anymore. And that half second, that tiny moment of self-awareness before you talk yourself out of it, that is the most honest moment in most people's days. And it passes in an instant every time. We were taught something very early, not with words, but with reactions. We learned which emotions were acceptable in which rooms. We learned which version of ourselves made people comfortable. We learned that falling apart had consequences, that needing too much made people pull away, that certain feelings were better kept quiet, because the times we did not keep them quiet, something went wrong. Someone got uncomfortable. Someone told us to calm down. Someone made us feel like our feelings were the problem. And we were young, and we were paying attention, so we adapted. The way children always do. We learned to edit ourselves in real time, before the feeling even fully arrived. And we called that growing up. But some of it was just disappearing. The exhausting part is not the big performances. It is the small daily ones nobody notices. Laughing at something you did not find funny. Agreeing with something you did not believe. Pretending to be okay in a relationship where you have not felt okay in months. Performing enthusiasm for a life you chose but are not sure you still want. Holding yourself together in a meeting and then sitting in your car afterward. And not even knowing what you feel. Just empty. Just tired in a way that sleep does not fix. Because sleep does not touch this kind of tired. This tired lives deeper than that. And I want to say something carefully here, because I am not saying pretending is always wrong. There is a kind of pretending that is actually grace, choosing not to unload your pain onto someone who cannot hold it, holding yourself together for someone else in a moment they needed you steady, finding the strength to show up even when everything inside you wanted to disappear. That is not dishonesty. That is love. That is maturity. But there is a difference between choosing to hold something privately and never letting yourself feel it at all, between protecting others in a moment and building an entire identity around being someone who does not need anything. One is strength. The other is loneliness, wearing the mask of strength. And knowing the difference requires the kind of honesty with yourself that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. So what would it feel like to stop? Not forever, not in every room, not dramatically, just for a moment, to let the performance go quiet, to sit alone with yourself and actually ask, how am I? Not the version you tell other people, not the version that keeps everyone comfortable, the real one. And then to actually wait for the answer, without immediately talking yourself out of it, without immediately reframing it into something more manageable, just how am I? And whatever comes up, to let it be true, even if it is inconvenient, even if it does not fit the version of yourself you have been maintaining, even if it asks something of you. Because here is what I believe. The most radical thing a person can do in the world we are living in is to be honest with themselves, not performatively honest, not honest in a way that becomes its own kind of performance, but quietly, privately, in the moments between the moments, in the car before you go inside, in the 2 minutes before you fall asleep, in the half second after someone asks how you are, before you answer. That honesty, that tiny, private, nobody is watching honesty, is where something real can begin, not a transformation, not an awakening, just a small crack in the performance, just enough light to remember. There is someone underneath it, someone who has been waiting quietly for a long time now, to be allowed to exist. You do not have to perform today, not for me, not for anyone, but especially not for yourself before it fades.